Hello there everybody and welcome back to Movie Squirm. Today we're going to be reviewing the 1983 slasher film Sleepaway Camp, and this is directed by Robert Hiltzik and stars Felicia Rose and Jonathan Thurston. This tells the story of a summer camp with people being picked off one by one by a mysterious killer. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Sleepaway Camp is one of them iconic slasher movies that everyone seems to have seen except me. Yes, this is a first time watch, and I knew how loved this movie was within the slasher community, the horror community, and how iconic the ending is supposed to be here. Now, I did know the ending going into this movie. It was kind of hard to avoid when people constantly post it almost every day on social media, but I probably should have watched the damn thing by now. I mean, it's been almost 40 years. So what did I think of Sleepaway Camp? Now, let me just let you know that before I get into it, there are going to be spoilers in this video, especially when I talk about the ending. So let's get into it. First off, I really noticed that 80s vibe, and I just thought to myself, yes, this is exactly what I need right now. I haven't watched one of these in a while, and I used to watch them constantly as a kid, which surprises me that I haven't seen this one up until now. But the movie is very, very easy to follow, and you can just sit back, relax, and have fun with this. There's people running around in hot pants here, low-cut t-shirts, there's plenty of friendly and not so friendly banter, there's pranks being played on each other, all the campers and within the camp just having a great time. And you know what I thought to myself? Wow, there is not a phone in sight here. People just living with the moment, interacting with one another, and I thought, man, that was just much a simpler time. Imagine we could just go back for that for a couple of days and learn to appreciate one another again. So that was nice to see. But the movie follows this young girl called Angela and her cousin Ricky, who are sent to summer camp. Now, I gotta be honest, Felicia Rose, who plays Angela here, man, she could just act their ass off without doing anything, because she is a mute for at least half this runtime. She doesn't speak at all, but she's just got this real emotionless look on her face. Like, there's no expression, but you could just tell that she basically did what she needed to do just by staring at people. It's really a unique talent that she's got here, and I think the cast and crew really nailed it down by picking her for this lead part. For example, the female characters in this film are trying to interact with Angela. They're asking her questions in a demeaning way, really, because they don't really like her because she doesn't speak. But man, she just does not interact back. She doesn't answer them. And you can see the girls getting more and more angry with her. And I just found this so amusing. The more angry they got with Angela, she just carried on staring back. And it was almost like she was taunting them in her own way because they were horrible people. And I just found this, really, really funny. I just couldn't help but laugh my ass off. I mean, the face that she pulls and just the stare that she does is absolutely priceless.
What's the matter? You afraid? Huh? Huh? Well, say something, you spoiled little bitch!
Ricky was a really cool kid too, and I liked the fact that he always stood up for his cousin Angela. He would always go over to protect her, even when the bigger male campers who were way older than him picked on her. He would always go over and stand in her corner, and I had a lot of respect for him, so he was a good protagonist to get behind as well. But ultimately, this is a slasher film, and slashers are mostly based off their kill scenes or their creative kills. And you could tell Friday the 13th had been out 3 years prior to this, because it takes a lot of inspiration from it and almost mimics it, really. The kill scenes, a lot of them are done from a first-person point of view. And it was like Sleepaway Camp was just going, yeah, we want some of that cash too, so thank you very much. We're just going to take a leaf out of Friday the 13th book. But it didn't take anything away from the movie. A lot of these 80s slashers do a lot of the same things. They all take inspiration from one another. And it did keep the whodunit aspect going until the end. I mean, I did know the ending, but for people going in, I think first-person view was probably the best way to go. Now, it does have a lot of good creative kills in here too. And one of mine in particular was a favourite of mine in the movie, because there's this fat paedophile who works at the camp, And he's just a really vile character, one of the vilest characters I've seen in a movie. When all the new kids start camp, he stood there, you know, watching them all run past, and he's like, "Ooh, we got some fresh chicken here." And I was just like, that guy's gotta die. And what a splendid death he gets, because this boiled water is just pushed all over him and all his body burning away. And I just thought, yeah, that's kind of what paedophiles deserve. So that just made it that extra little bit special, I suppose. But there are a few more kills in here that were really fun to watch as well. And there's a lot of added cheese to these death scenes as well, which I don't think would work today. I mean, it all goes back to saying about that 80s cheese, that 80s vibe that we've got in this movie. One scene in particular, seeing this kid get drowned when his head is dunked under the water. You just see his hand be the last thing that goes in, but he's doing this little wave. And I was just like, oh my God, that is exactly what we need. No, that's exactly what these films just give. They just give absolutely absurd moments. And I was here and I was all for it. There's also a similar one when a girl is suffocated by a pillow and we just see a pair of arms sort of try and reach for help, but we see it as shadows on the wall, and you could really tell that them arms were just puppets' arms. And I thought, could you just use real arms for this? But one thing this film is remembered for is its iconic twist ending. So I'm going to go into major spoiler territory here now. So if you haven't seen the movie and you want to watch it and not know the ending, please go away and then come back and watch the rest of this review. But for you who have seen the ending, let's just crack into it. But like I said, I knew the ending going in, and about 3/4 of the way through this film, I asked my wife, who do you think the killer is? I just wanted to know if she'd figured it out, and she said, probably Angela. Now, I do think it was kind of obvious myself that this was going to be Angela. I don't know if the filmmakers did this intentionally, so we would all feel very, very clever that when it's revealed that it's Angela at the end of the movie, we all guessed it right, but then that would be taken away from us right away there, because it is in fact revealed that she is a boy, and no one probably seen that one coming.
God, she's a boy.
Now, I know there are a few subtle hints here and there where the girls are asking her, why doesn't she have a shower with them and stuff? And she's kind of protective of not taking her clothes off or getting in her swimwear and stuff like that. And that's the only real pointers we get that Angela is not a female character. So, like I said, I don't think anyone kind of seen this coming. And if you did back in the day, bravo, because they are the smallest hints right there. And even though that image is etched in my memory now, I've got to be honest, it's a fun twist, but I don't think it's iconic as it should be. Now, what I mean by that is, I don't think it plays into the film all too much. Maybe you guys can see that a different way. Now, I know her crazy aunt made her into a girl, and she was in fact a boy because she wanted another girl, and the trauma of the accident at the start of the movie and her crazy aunt forcing him to be a woman, or a female, should I say, that could have coincided and just made it its crazy psychopathic killer that she is. But I just think the movie would have made more sense with this twist ending if it was only the girls in the dormitory that she was killing off, because she had access to that dormitory by infiltrating it, if you get me. But it's not. The movie's kills are very, very mixed. It's not just the girls that she kills. There's older guys and boys that she kills. It's all a different type of people. So I just think the movie would have worked a lot better if it was basically just the girl she was killing in the dormitory, because it would explain why she did this, basically, and the whole boy twist would have made a lot more sense. I mean, I just don't think it changes all that much, anything really, just because she's got a dick and it shows it in the movie. I just don't think it matters that much. I mean, they could have just revealed that it was Angela and maybe hid it a bit more throughout the movie. But don't get me wrong, it's an interesting turn of events. I don't hate the end or anything like that. In fact, I kind of like it. I just don't think it's this big, amazing ending that everyone tells me it is. I mean, I think it's slightly overrated, if you ask me. Also, I just got a bit of a side note to mention here. Angela is a mute for just over half this film, and then she just starts speaking to people. I just didn't get that, really. Now, as much as I enjoyed this cheesy 80s slasher, it is in fact a cheesy 80s slasher, which probably comes with a bunch of problems, and this movie did. I mean, there are definitely more positives than negatives in this movie, don't get me wrong, but it's just is full of weird characters. Now, what I gotta mention is the aunt here, who sort of forced, Angela to being a female, really. Man, she was one of the worst actresses I have ever seen in my life. It was so bizarre to watch this actress to play this aunt character. I mean, she will say things like, "Oh, we don't want to be late for camp." No, that wouldn't do at all. She kept touching her face and just talking to herself and overacting her lines. Man, this was hilarious to watch this character for the small runtime or screen time that she got.
Any chips?
Why, of course. I believe there's a whole bag.
Well, I'm almost sure of it.
Also, that fat paedophile who I mentioned before, he's basically telling his co-workers that he likes kids and no one pulls him up on it. I mean, one person says, "Man, you're a little weird," but in a jokey way. I mean, they're just happy for him to be a paedophile. Also, we've got the guy who runs the camp. He's like, what, 60 in this movie, and he's going out with one of the campers who's like 18, 17 or something. He's like 50 years old or something. I mean, I don't know exactly how old she is in the movie, but it just seemed really, really off to me. And also, this camp is never shut down. Like, there's bodies turning up, people are going missing, and the camp owner is just blaming Ricky for all these murders. But the police never ever think to shut the camp down or anything. They just come and pick the bodies up and then go away, and there's no investigation as to what's happening or anything. It's all just very bizarre. I mean, this kid is drowned, his body is taken away, and no one says anything about it apart from Mel, the camp owner, who blames Ricky. But none of the campers seem on edge. No one really seems scared that there's this killer going around. And people are just dying, basically. And yeah, that's just part of the charm, I suppose. And I'm a bit of a sucker for that. I kind of like the negatives sometimes in these movies. However, my biggest negative with this film is probably the sound mixing in some scenes. The start of the film, there's a speedboat accident, and you really can't hear any of the characters' dialogue because the speedboat is so loud. But thankfully, it only happened in moments here. It didn't happen too often during this 90-minute runtime. 90 minutes. Don't see too many of them too often, but when it did happen, it was noticeable. I'm just going to go ahead and rate this movie now. I'm going to give Sleepaway Camp a 7 out of 10. I had quite a fun time with this summer camp slasher movie, and honestly, I can't wait to check out part 2 now. It has problems, of course, but this is a really fun time. Okay, yeah, guys, at the end of these reviews, I always like to leave a little fun fact. Now, a fun fact for Sleepaway Camp is that director Robert Hiltzik actually went to this camp as a child and then returned to film his movie there. Okay, guys, I hope you all enjoyed this review. Please don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to this channel if this is your sort of thing. I've got a review for Sleepaway Camp 2, Unhappy Campers, coming up next. And when I review all these movies in this franchise, I'll rank them from worst to best. So thanks so much, everyone. You take care, and I'll see you all on the next video.